Alright, how's everybody doing today? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And today what I have for everyone is my camera walkthrough video and photo and video samples for the Motorola Moto G7. So like we always do, we're going to walk through the camera interface and I'm going to give y'all some photo and some video samples, and we're going to wrap the video up and everything will be time-stamped for your convenience. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. Now starting off, the first thing I want to talk about before we dive into the main camera interface are the ways that you can launch into the cameras on your Moto G7 or in general, just Moto devices in general. So way number one is you could just quickly swipe in from the lock screen. So you swipe in from the bottom right after tapping the camera icon, and it'll launch you straight into the cameras on your Moto device. Way number two is you can double press the power button from any screen on your device to launch you into the cameras. And way number three, and this last one is a Motorola staple, is a quick twist of the wrist from any screen in your device, even when the screen is locked, will launch you into the cameras on your Moto device. And another quick twist of the wrist will give you the ability to switch between the front and the rear facing cameras to your heart's content. So that pretty much goes over all the ways that y'all can launch into the camera on your Moto devices. Alright? Okay. Now, the last way that you can get into the camera on your Moto device is with the camera icon located anywhere on your home screens. You just tap on it and this will take you to the main landing page of your camera interface on your Moto G7. And with that, let's start going over some of the capabilities of the device. Now let's start from top to bottom. So across the top from left to right, we have our HDR controls. So you have on, off, auto. It comes in auto by default. Now, Motorola devices, in my opinion, are really good with auto HDR, so I have a tendency to leave it on. Next, we have our flash controls. Again, this one comes on in auto mode by default, but I don't like having the flash on, so I tend to keep it turned off. This way I can compose my shot to the best of my ability and not worry about the flash messing it up. But it is there if you want those flash controls. Then right next to that, we have timer controls, and this timer controls is only for photos. You don't have any timer controls for video. So there is a bummer there, but it is what it is. So you have a 3-second timer or a 10-second timer. Then directly right next to that, we have our live photo mode or live focus photo mode. And pretty much what this does is it captures a little bit of movement before the photo was taken and a little bit of movement after the photo was taken, and it adds that to your overall photo. Again, I'm not a big fan of that, any implementation of that, so I have a tendency to leave it turned off. Alright, and then lastly, we have our camera modes for photo mode. So we have auto mode, which it comes on by default, and then we have manual mode, which gives you access to all of your manual controls. So you got manual focus here, alright? My bad, you got manual focus right here. So you can tap and then scroll the degree of focus, alright? After that, you got white balance controls right here. So you can dial in the white balance for your photo. Then we have some ISO controls here. Alright. Then we got more ISO controls here. Then we got some white balance controls, more white balance controls. So you can really dial in your shot. And it's all, you get to see it live in real time. So you can do it individually, or if you want to control everything all together, you just hit this little arrow here, and then you have access to controlling everything all together. All right? So let's put this back to the default here, because y'all know I kind of get messy with this. So you really have full control over the camera on your device. So that's really, really good. You can line up the shot, line up the focus, line up everything you need to, and then be good to go. All right. So that's all of the modes that you have going across the top there. Let's take it back to auto mode as we continue this video. Now, across the bottom, just under your viewfinder, we have a few more modes here. So we have the basic photo mode, which it comes on by default. And you can see we do have a shutter button directly under that. Then if we swipe to the left, this gives us access to additional modes. So in particular, when we talk about additional photo modes, we do have a built-in portrait mode here, which is really, really nice. And you can control the live blur in real time. So you can see if I wanted to focus on this water bottle and have a picture with no blur in the background, that's what that would look like. Or if I wanted to max it out so you can see the background is completely blurred, that's what that would look like. So I really do like the fact that you can see what you're about to do in real time before you do it. Then we have cutout mode here, which is really, really nice. And pretty much this lets you cut out a subject from one photo and then put it into another photo. So really, really good stuff there. So I can cut out this water bottle, take a picture of something else, and then drop it in. So really, really good stuff there. Now I don't use that often, so it is what it is, but I still wanted to talk about it so y'all know the capabilities. Next, we're talking about my absolute favorite feature on Moto cameras. Let's talk about the spot color. This is my favorite camera feature on Moto devices. And basically what this does is it gives you the ability to select any color on the screen that the camera can see, and you tap on it. So let's use this water bottle as an example. I tapped on the green where it says purified water, the green background, and now I can control how much color the camera lets into the scene. So this is maximum color here, and this is no color. And if I just want the green, just the green would be like right there. So now just the green and a little bit of the white is standing out. And this is really, really cool. If you play around with this, you can get some really incredible shots, as you guys and gals are going to see when we dive into the photo samples. But this is absolutely my favorite feature built into Motorola devices. All right. Then next to that, we have cinematograph mode, and pretty much this is just a way to pretty much make GIFs. All right. So that's that. All you gotta do is really hold it to start the recording, so on and so forth. Okay, got it. All right. And then that pretty much does it for your additional photo modes, along with traditional panorama right down there. So y'all know how panorama works. If you don't, you can pan up and down on the scene. You can pan right to left on the scene. And when it's done, the software will stitch together a big photo for you, and you can go ahead and scroll through it to your heart's content. So that's panorama mode, and that does it for all of the photo modes. Talking about additional video modes, we do have slow motion video recording with the front and the rear facing cameras, which is done at 720p, 120 frames per second, slow motion. And it's really, really cool that you can take slow motion video with the front and the rear facing cameras. So really good stuff. Next thing you could do is you could do time-lapse video. And lastly, you can do a YouTube live stream directly from your Motorola device. Alright, now I'm not a big fan of live streams because there's a little bit too much going on, but the fact that you can do it directly from your device is really, really cool. So no need to have a secondary computer or other devices. If you just want to do a live video or a live stream, you tap that, you set it up, and then you're good to go. And that pretty much does it for the additional features on your Motorola devices. Now, if you swipe all the way to the right, this takes you into your video mode, and you can see this is where you can verify across the top that we do have electronic image stabilization. Now this is only available for 1080p 60 and below. So if you shoot in 4K, you're not going to have any type of stabilization except for your hands or if you're using a smartphone stabilizer. So keep that in mind. And then we do have flash controls. So if you want to take a video with the onboard flash, maybe you're trying to do a video in a dark scene, this flash, you can really light up the scene and get enough light to take a video. So you do have flash controls there. Really nice stuff. Mad notifications coming through, my bad y'all. And you could turn it off. Now, you don't have timer controls while in video, as I said, so that is a bummer there, but it is what it is. Next, if we go down to where the shutter button is, you do have a few things here. So when you're taking a video, it turns into a red record button, all right? And you can snap photos while taking video, so that is nice. When you're in photo mode, it turns into your traditional shutter button, okay? And then if you hit this little camera icon with the rotating circle in it, this will switch you to the front-facing camera, or it will switch you back to the back-facing camera. And this other icon in the bottom right-hand corner, this is a quick access button to take you directly to your photo gallery. And by default, the Motorola devices are using Google Photos. All right, so good stuff there. Now let's talk a little bit more about the features on the front-facing cameras. So similar to the rear-facing cameras, you got all of your core features. So you got HDR, you got flash controls, you got portrait controls here. If I jump down here, we have portrait controls, spot color, cinematograph. You do have additional group selfie mode. So if you want to get more than one person in the scene, you snap one, you move it around, you snap the other one, you move it around, you snap the other one, and then it stitches it all together into a big group selfie. Other than that, all the other features are the same as with the rear. So you get portrait mode, which again, you can see in real time. So really good stuff there. And you can control the blur that's on the portrait. All right. So we can maximum blur out everything, as y'all can see right here. All right. Or if you wanted a minimum amount of blur, you can do that here as well. So just a little bit of blur. Boom. Good stuff. And also with the front-facing camera, we do have beauty mode and our timer controls. But I'm not a big fan of beauty mode, so y'all know what to do with that. Just turn that bad boy off. Timer controls, we do have live photo mode with the front-facing camera as well. So y'all can see it right here. All right. Again, not a big fan of that, so I leave it turned off. Then we have manual mode for the front-facing camera as well. So really good stuff. I am absolutely a big fan of this. So pretty much everything you can do with the rear-facing camera, you can do with the front. But there is a limitation between the two. And we're going to get into that right now. So if you tap to your additional modes and you want to dive deeper into the core settings of the camera app, you hit that gear icon in the top right, and this will take you into some more additional settings. And this is where you can verify a few things. So you can verify the maximum photo size for your device. So in particular with the Moto G7, the maximum you can do is a 12 megapixel photo in the 4:3 aspect ratio. And the minimum you can do is a 19:9 aspect ratio photo down to 5 megapixels. All right. When we talk about the rear-facing camera, you can record in a max of up to 4K or 2K resolution at 30 frames per second, or do a minimum of 720p at 30 FPS. All right. When we talk about the front-facing camera, this is where you can verify that it is indeed a maximum of an 8 megapixel sensor or a minimum of a 5 megapixel sensor if you want to shoot in the new 19:9 aspect ratio. Now, as y'all see, if you shoot in the traditional 16:9 aspect ratio, your available megapixels do change. So I recommend y'all just play around with this and try to find what works best for you. And you can also verify that with the front-facing camera, we have a max video recording resolution of 1080p at 30 frames per second. All right, so no 4K with the front-facing camera. All right, then we have a mirrored selfie mode here. All right, and then if you take manual photos, you can control the GIF output or JPEG output or JPEG output. I don't know why I had GIF on the brain. And below that, you can control where you store your photos and videos. So if you do have an SD card installed, you can store everything directly to the SD card. All right. And if you make your SD card internal storage, it's just going to lump everything together, and then you'll have a combined giant phone storage. So if you turn your SD card into internal storage, the option to save to your SD card won't be there because the phone will think your SD card and the internal storage are one big storage. Okay? Then, just below that, we have quick capture controls. So this controls the quick twist of the wrist gesture to launch you into the cameras. Then below that, we have a Motorola legacy feature in the tap anywhere to capture. So pretty much with this, if I back out here and we go to photos, I tap anywhere on the screen and it's going to take a picture. So let's take a picture here. Cheese. And there you go. Or I could tap here. There you go. So one tap to focus and another tap to take the photo. So really good stuff. All right. Good stuff indeed. And then if you tap here, all right, tap and hold, that does bring up exposure controls here, as you can see right there. So I can control the exposure on it as well. Good stuff there. All right, so y'all feel free to play around with this stuff and choose what works best for you. Now let's dive back into the main settings here. All right, now moving on down, we do have shutter sound controls, grid line assistance, which is something I always want to keep on. Then we have our leveler controls. So this just adds a nice level so you get nice even footage. So if I back up here and we go back to the photo, y'all can see we do have a nice leveler now. So you got nice stable level footage here with that leveler on. So once it turns green, that means the footage is completely level. So you can, if you want to use it to the best of its ability, you want to keep moving it till it turns green and then try not to move. So really good stuff there. All right, jumping back in. Another neat thing that I'm very happy to see is Motorola has incorporated a onboard watermark feature, and they have two different watermark styles. So this one and this one, and you pretty much, you write in what you want in there and you're good to go. So really, really nice to have that built-in watermark directly built into the camera software. Nice. So no need to download additional apps to watermark your photos because it comes in out the box on your Moto devices. Then we have AI controls, which really only two. You have your auto smile detect. So if the camera detects that there's a smile, it will automatically take a photo. So let's test this out. All right. Now the exposure is kind of off, so it's kind of misbehaving, but it does work about 3 out of 5 times. So y'all play around with it. Once you get the hang of it, it should work no problem. Let's jump back in. All right, and moving on, we have our Google Lens support. Then we have a quick shortcut to help. So if you need any assistance, then we could replay the tutorial, and we got source code license information. And really, guys and gals, that pretty much does it for the overall camera walkthrough on your Motorola devices. So really good stuff, at least where Motorola is concerned. I really do like the fact that they make their interface really easy, really straightforward. You know, you pick up a Motorola device and you want to start taking photos in our video, you're going to get the hang of it within a few minutes and you'll be good to go. So really good stuff there. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut in some photo samples and then some video samples, and then we'll wrap the video up. So I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this video, and I'll catch you guys and gals on the other side. Peace, everyone. Alright, how's everybody doing today? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And today, what I have for everyone is we're finally starting our coverage with the Moto G7. Now, I've had this phone for about a week and a half, but I had to finish up some coverage on the LG V30. So all that coverage is done. So now we can finally move on to the Moto G7. So we'll start off with some camera tests here. So today what I have for everyone is a rear-facing camera test of the rear-facing 12 megapixel sensor on the Moto G7. This video here today is completely handheld and is being recorded in 720p at 30 frames per second. So as we always do, we're going to do some pans, we're going to do some focus tests, we're going to do some exposure tests, we're going to do some zoom testing, and then we'll wrap the video up. Then we'll do a front-facing camera test, and we'll move on to the other areas and continue testing out the cameras. So, as I've already been doing, we've already been doing our pans. So now we're just going to go directly into the exposure test. Alright? And the neat thing about the Moto G7 is it does have EIS. So that's really nice. So we have electronic image stabilization. So there's no OIS, but the EIS really does help. And I just decided to leave it on. So right here, we're panning from the ground to a focus point in the distance. And what we're looking for here is a nice smooth transition from the lighter to the darker areas with minimal to no exposure blowout. And if the exposure does blow out, we want the camera to try and get it to recover as fast as possible. So that's what we're doing right here. So how's the camera doing? Let me know. Alright, now let's check the focusing speed. So what's really nice is the Moto G7 has continuous autofocus, and it gives you a nice, fast focusing wheel, which is white when it's out of focus, and it turns green when it's in focus. And you do have tap to focus as well, and you can also tap and lock the exposure and tap and adjust the exposure. But I'm not going to do any of that here today because I just want to check out the focusing speed of the camera itself. So we're going to let the camera try and do all of the work. So as y'all can see, I'm cycling through the 3 focus points, and now I'm just going to report when the camera says it's got a lock. So starting off here, locked up, go to the pillar, locked up, go to the tree in the distance, locked up, go back to the pillar, locked up, Go back to the tree over here, locked up. So overall, the focusing speed is pretty quick. It's not the fastest I've seen, but it's pretty quick. And y'all let me know, is the camera actually in focus or is it misreporting the focus lock here? Let me know down below in the comments. Boom. Alright, so now let's test the zoom. Alright, let's see how the zoom does. So starting off, the Moto G7 has 8 times digital zoom. Alright, now me myself, and I say this in all of my camera tests, I would never recommend going over 2 times zoom unless you have a camera with a dedicated zoom lens or a telephoto lens. Then you have to experiment with it. But for a lot of these budget cameras and mid-range cameras, they only have 1 or maybe 2 sensors, and that secondary sensor is for depth information, so portrait mode style photos or blurred background photo shots. So in video, that depth sensor is not really doing much. So right here, we have no zoom right now. So let's bump it up to 1.5 times, and it said pinch to zoom. So right about here. Okay, so this is 1.5 times zoom. So what do y'all think? How's the camera doing? Now, it's not as bright today, but I have to say, looking through a viewfinder, y'all, the detail looks good. The colors look accurate, like that's almost spot on to what the actual scene looks like. So the colors are pretty accurate, the detail is good, and this is 1.5 times zoom. Let's take it up to 2 times zoom now. See what it do. Alright, and now this is 2 times zoom. So what do y'all think? Now we did lose a little bit of detail, but overall the detail is still there. The colors are there too. I'm seeing a lot of exposure shifting, especially when I go out to objects in the distance through the viewfinder. It looks like it gets really dark, but when I focus on closer subjects, I retain all that detail. Especially look at the petals in the grass or the leaves in the grass. Look at that. Nice detail on the grass and the separation. So this is it. 2 times zoom. That's the perfect zoom length for me. But as always, we all use our cameras differently, so you have to play around with it. But I would recommend you don't zoom in more than 2 times zoom. If you need to get closer than this to your subject, you need to physically get as close as you think you need to your subject as possible. Just move close. Alright? But let's continue the zoom testing. So that's 2 times zoom. Let's go up to 4 times zoom now. Alright. Let's pinch the zoom wheel. Is not a good look. Alright. So this is 4 times zoom. Man, that image got shaky. We've blown out the colors even more, as y'all can see. Yet again, if I go to closer subjects, still got all that detail. Yeah. But further out, still having that dark color effect. I'm not sure what's going on. And a lot of that detail is lost. Like if we look at the leaves on the tree, you can make out it's a tree, but you can't make out the individual petals. So that detail is not there. That's because this is digital cropping. Let's take it up all the way, 8 times zoom. 8 times zoom here. Look how shaky this video has gotten. Now keep in mind, your boy doesn't have the most stable of hands, and this is handheld. But when you're in all the way 100 times zoom, you can really get a sense of how the camera can perform. Look how shaky that is. Now the overall zoom range is nice, but we lost a lot of detail. The colors are washed out, and the overall image is super shaky. And I'm holding it pretty good. Holding it with both hands pretty good here. And look how shaky that image is. Alright, let's zoom back out. Alright, now we're back out. Okay, so this does it for the rear-facing camera test. And you can also take photos while in video. There is a shutter button. So we'll just go ahead and snap a few samples here. I like how that sky looks. Snap that real fast. Boom. I'll put this up in the photo samples area. Ooh, look at those clouds. Boom, that cloud looks nice. Bam, I like that. Yeah. So y'all will see how this looks. I'll snap a few more, and y'all will see how it looks. But y'all let me know, how did the rear-facing cameras perform? Alright? Now, real quickly, let's spin the camera around. Let's do a front-facing camera test. And then we're going to move on to some other camera tests. Alright, I'll be right back. Peace. Alright, and now we're doing a front-facing camera sample test. So now we're testing out the front-facing camera on the Moto G7. So this is the front-facing 8-megapixel camera on the Moto G7. And yet again today, we're doing another handheld video. So this is front-facing 720p footage at 30 frames per second. Alright, so no tripod hooked up, no smartphone mount hooked up. So this is just bare handheld, push record and go. So how do y'all think the cameras are doing? How's the audio? Okay, how's the camera doing with my skin tones? How's the focus? Let me know what y'all think. Alright, really good stuff. Not bad. It's doing a really great job out today. Alright, we're not going to make this clip too much longer than this. Let me know what y'all think. Let's move on to the next test. I'll be right back. Alright, how's everybody doing today? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. This time here today, we got another camera samples test. Again, we're testing out the rear and the front-facing cameras on the Moto G7. This time we're recording at 1080p at 30 and 60 frames per second, respectively. So this first quick clip, or we're going to try and make it quick, is being recorded at 1080p, 30 frames per second. So we're going to run through the usual testing here. We're going to do some pans, we're going to do some focus tests, we're going to do some exposure tests, and we're going to wrap the video up, and then we're going to jump to the 1080p 60. Alright, so that being said, the first thing we want to do is we're going to start off with a pan. So we're going to pan all the way from here, all the way through, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, all the way through to right about there, and back. We're going to do this 3 times. Okay, number 2. And number 3. Alright. Also today I'm not using any external microphone, but I am using my Readycam grip and also my U-Lens mount to help and stabilize the footage here today, because I watched the other footage that was handheld and it was very shaky, even with the EIS on, because the Moto G7 does have EIS. Okay, I think that should do it for the pans. Now let's do some exposure testing. So we're going to pan down to the ground here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pan up and out to an object in the distance. And what you're really trying to pay attention here for in the exposure test is a nice smooth transition from the dark shadowy areas to the lighter areas with minimal exposure blowout. And or if the cameras do blow out, we want it to recover as fast as possible. So here we go. Let's pan out to that tree in the distance over there. Alright, and we're going to do this 3 times. Okay, not too bad. A little bit of a struggle I'm seeing on the viewfinder. Not too bad though. Okay, the next thing we're going to test now is we're going to test the focusing speed. So I'm going to pick 3 different objects here, and I'm going to report to you guys when the camera says that it has a lock. So let's use the pool balls. Let's use these plants right here, and we'll use that tree over there in the distance, the mango tree, which is bearing. Oh boy, I can't wait. So alright, I'm going to cycle through these, and I'm going to only report when the camera says it has a lock. So here we go. Go to the pool balls, locked up. Go to the mango tree, locked up. Go to plants, locked up. And y'all let me know how's it doing. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Back to the pool balls, locked up. It's really quick. Back to the mango tree, locked up. Good stuff. Back to the plants, locked up. Alright, let's get a real close up on the plants here, see how it does. Really good stuff when keeping that focus. Not bad, not bad. How about this petal over here? Not bad at all, not bad at all. Alright, so the last thing I want to test for you guys and gals before we do the same thing with 1080p 60, but we're going to go a little bit faster when we do 1080p 60, alright? Last thing I want to test is the zoom. So let's use that plant over there as a focus point, and then the first thing we're going to do is zoom in to 2x zoom. Now, as I always say, I don't recommend you zoom in past 2x zoom, because unless you have a smart device that supports a zoom lens or a telephoto lens, all the smart camera is doing is digital cropping, and after a certain point it does degrade the image. So if you must zoom in, I only recommend you zoom in to 2x zoom, and then you get as physically close to your subject as possible. That being said, we're going to do the full zoom demonstration here. So let's start off with 2x zoom, and the neat thing is you can pinch the zoom, or you can tap and drag up and down to zoom in and out. So there we go, we're going to tap and drag up to 2x zoom. And we're focused on the tree. As you can see, we still got detail in the leaves. The color is spot on. Everything looks good. Now, the next thing I want to do is zoom into 4x zoom. And I want y'all to pay attention to what happens to the detail and the color as we zoom in. So let's go up to 4x zoom now. Alright. There we go. And this is 4x zoom. Alright, and once again, you can see the color is still there, but we've lost a lot of the detail. Alright, and if I move, even the slightest movement makes the camera look kind of jerky. So you see that? We could tell what it is, but we've lost all the detail in the leaves, but we still have good colors. Now, the maximum zoom length on the Moto G7 is 8x, so let's take it up to max now. Alright, and this is 8x zoom. Ooh, buddy, look at that. That blew out real fast. Let me see if I focus on something in the distance, if it helps. No. The image is severely pixelated and really blown out. And I would say using the Moto G7 at max zoom length is almost unusable. Alright, so let's zoom back out now because it's kind of hurting my eyes. Ooh, buddy. Yes. Alright, so real quickly now, I'm going to change the cameras to 1080p 60. I'm going to turn some music on and we're going to run through the same test. I just won't talk. Okay? That way we can do it as fast as possible. Alright, so I'll be right back. We're going to do the same test again in the same area. We're just going to bump it up to 1080p 60. Then we're going to do a front-facing camera test. And then we're going to go inside and do some low-light testing. Alright, I'll be right back. 2x zoom. What do y'all think of the colors? What do you think of the detail? Alright, now let's take it up to 4x zoom. That's 4x zoom. Again, what do you think of the colors? What do you think of the detail? Alright, now let's take it up to 8x zoom. Again, what do you think? Alright. Real quick 1080p 60 clip for y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Now let's test out the front facing 8 megapixel camera. Then we're going to go inside and do some low light testing. Alright, be right back. Alright y'all, and now we're testing out the front facing 8 megapixel camera on the Moto G7. This time we're recording at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So starting off, this is some nice stationary front facing footage for y'all. Alright, we're out here by the pool today. Real nice weather. I believe it was 85 degrees today with a humidity level of 91. So it was hot today, it was real hot. So what do y'all think of this stationary footage? This is like perfect for a vlog style video. It looked pretty good to me through the viewfinder. Let me know what y'all think. Also, we don't have any external microphones hooked up today. So everything you're seeing and hearing is coming straight from the Moto G7 itself, whether it be the cameras or the onboard microphone. Alright? Now, let me pick up everything and give y'all some motion footage and let y'all see how that works. So this is perfect for testing out the stabilization and all that. Dang, I kind of messed up my hand working out today, but it is what it is. Alright, so picking up the camera and everything. Alright. Now this will be perfect if you went to walk and talk. Now because of my disability, I can't walk and talk. So I don't know if y'all noticed that when I do this moving around, I kind of just pan around myself as I sit. Because it's very hard for me to get up and walk around. So, yeah. Let me know what y'all think. How's the camera doing with my skin tone? How's it doing with the color shifting? How's the detail? How's the audio? Let me know. Alright, we're not going to make this too much longer than this. Now we're going to go inside and do some low light testing. I'm going to close up all the blinds and see how the camera does. So I will be right back. How's everybody doing today? So we're back again with another video for you guys and gals. And this time what we have for everyone is an indoor low light footage testing out the front and the rear facing cameras of the Moto G7. So we've done the outdoor test. Now we're indoors. This is in low light. It's still daytime, but I've shut all the shades. As y'all can see, if we pan around, all the shades are as close as I can get them. So this is daytime, low light settings here. And I just wanted y'all to see how the camera would perform. So this first part is some nice stationary footage. So this is what it would look like if you went to vlog, stationary style with your Moto G7 front-facing 8 megapixel sensor. This first video clip here is being recorded in 720p at 30 frames per second with no external microphones hooked up. So please let me know what y'all think. Now let's see what happens if I pick it all up here and we pan around. So you can see as I pan around and the camera gets more light. So let me show you again. So this is the darker area of the room. Now if I pan around, as the camera gets more light, you can see this footage here is actually extremely usable. Now, over in that portion of the room, that's actually where the most light is. If I tilt the shades, that's where I get the most natural lighting. Right about here is the dimmest area of the room. So I have to say that the cameras are doing a pretty good job. So let me know what y'all think. What y'all think of this front-facing footage. Now, let's spin the cameras around. Let's give y'all a nice rear-facing sample. And then we'll do some more tests. We'll do some 1080p 60 and 30 tests in low artificial light. And then I think on Friday, we'll wrap the coverage up and we'll do some 4K testing. All right, so I'll be right back. I'll see you guys and gals in a minute. All right, and now here I have a rear-facing camera sample for you guys and gals. So we've spun the camera around, and this footage right here is being recorded in 720p at 30 frames per second. And this is using the rear-facing 12 megapixel sensor on the Moto G7. And once again, this is in low daylight settings. So all the shades are still closed, and there's minimal light coming into the scene here. And honestly, I gotta tell you guys, as I'm looking through the viewfinder, this footage looks really good. Like if I wanted to do some type of product demo, unboxing, or review, for example, this is good enough lighting to do it. So y'all can see this is my on-go shutter button remote here, and y'all can see how much detail this camera is pulling down. Alright? So everything looks very crisp and clear, and if I wanted to snap a photo, I could just click the shutter button here, snap a quick photo of that. Really good stuff. And let's see if I wanted to take some more photo samples. I'm sure you guys and gals have seen this in a lot of my photo samples. This was a present from my niece. Thank you, baby girl. But if I wanted to snap a photo of this, I could just real quickly snap a photo of that. If I wanted to snap a photo of my speakers over here, really good stuff over here. Bam, snap a photo of that real quick. So you can see, overall, in my opinion, these cameras seem to be doing a really good job. Regardless of the lighting scenarios, they seem to be doing a really good job, and I've been recording a ton of footage with the Moto G7 cameras. Anyways, just wanted to give y'all this real quick low light daytime sample. Now we're going to wait till a little bit later on. We're going to wait till it gets super dark, and I'm going to do some testing for y'all in artificial lighting. Then, as I said, we're going to wait till about Friday, and then we'll go out to the big yard and do the last of the 4K samples. Alright? That being said, I hope you guys and gals enjoy, and I will see you guys and gals in the next clip. Alright, be right back. Alright, y'all. So we are back again with another video for you guys and gals. So as promised, it's now officially nighttime. Now it's a couple days later, but it's nighttime, and I'm giving y'all a low light camera test of the front and the rear facing cameras on the Motorola Moto G7. So this right here is the front facing 8 megapixel camera on the Moto G7. This video right here is being recorded in 1080p at 30 frames per second with no external microphones hooked up. And as y'all can see, we are recording in low light artificial lighting. The only thing I got turned on right now is my porch lights here. We're out in the lanai here, and it's the only thing on. So there's no other background lights other than the lanai lights that are on here lighting up the scene. So this is a low light artificial lighting test. Let me know what y'all think. Alright, now let's spin the camera around and let's do the same test with the rear facing 12 megapixel camera. I'll be right back. Alright, peace. Alright, y'all. And now I spun the cameras around, as y'all can see. And now we're doing the same low light artificial lighting test. This time we're using the rear facing 12 megapixel camera on the Moto G7. And this time this video is being recorded at 1080p at 60 frames per second. Once again, there is no external microphones hooked up, so everything y'all are seeing and or hearing is coming from either the camera on the Moto G7 or the onboard speakers. And I don't even know if I got the angle right because I can't see what the camera is recording right now, but we're going to hope for the best. So let me know what y'all think. Now we're going to move on to some other tests. I hope you guys and gals enjoy. I'll see y'all in the next clip. Peace. Alright, how's everybody doing today? back again with the final set of camera tests for you guys and gals. And today, what I have for everyone is some 4K camera tests using the rear-facing 12 megapixel camera on the Moto G7. So this video is being recorded in 4K or 2K at 30 frames per second with the rear-facing 12 megapixel primary camera on the Moto G7. So it's a beautiful day out here today. So I'm just going to give y'all some nice footage and y'all let me know what you think. And we're going to try and hurry this along because it is 98 degrees out here today in the shade and it is hot as hell. We can't even sugarcoat it. I'm trying to get back into the AC. But that being said, let's go ahead and do these standard camera tests. So we're going to do some pans. We're going to do some exposure tests. We're going to do some zoom testing. And then we're going to wrap it up. So starting off, we're going to start with the pans here. So we're going to pan all the way from here, all the way through to right about there. And come on back. And we're going to do this 3 times. So that was number 1. Okay, that was number 2. And there we go with number 3. Also, let me know what y'all think of the audio because no external microphone is hooked up for this test here today. Wow, it's so hot I can't even formulate good sentences. So there is no external microphone hooked up for these last set of tests. So let me know what y'all think of the onboard microphones. Alright? Okay. Now let's try and attempt some exposure tests. So I got to bring this back into the shade a little bit more. So now we're in the shade here. And we're going to pan up and out to the tree in the distance over there. And again, what we're looking for is a nice smooth transition from the darker, shadier areas to the sunnier areas right out there. Alright, so we're going to do this 3 times. Let's start outward and go inward. So we're going to do it in the reverse. So now we're focused on the tree. And we're going to pan down. Now we're in the shade, focused on the grass. Going to do this 3 times. Back up to the tree. Back down to the ground in the shade. It's doing really good. But I would expect it to be this good because we got perfectly lit scenery here today. So I'm not really seeing any exposure blowout. And it's pretty good with the transitions. Okay? Alright. Now let's check out the focusing speed. So we're going to pick 3 focus points here. I like the tree in the distance. I like this small mango tree off to the side here. Which, it is blooming. We got mangoes. I see 1, I see 2. And that one got 1, that one got 2. Hey, we got mangoes out there, y'all. Good stuff. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick that up. So we're going to use that small mango tree over there as a focus point. We're going to use the big tree over there as another focus point. And we're going to use this tree right here in front of us here as another focus point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cycle through these real quickly. And I'm going to report when the camera says it has a lock. So here we go. Focus point number 1. Focus point number 2, locked up. Focus point number 3, locked up. Back to number 2, locked up. Back to number 1, locked up. The focusing speed is fast. Back to number 2, locked up. Back to number 3, locked up. Back to number 2, locked up. Back to number 1, locked up. 1 to 3, 1, locked. 3, locked. 1, locked. That was a little slow. 3, locked. Really fast focusing speed. Let me know what y'all think. Yeah, this is really good. Alright, now let's do some zoom testing. And then I'm going to spin the camera around, and we're going to give you a vlog style clip with the rear facing cameras at 4K, and that will wrap up the testing for the cameras on the Moto G7. So let's check out this zoom here, and let's try to focus on that trailer all the way out there in the distance. So this is no zoom. Alright, now we're going to take it up to 2x zoom. Alright, so this is 2x zoom right here. Hold up, right about there. That's 2x zoom. And we're still focused on the trailer. Let me know what y'all think of the colors. Also, I'm noticing at 4K, all stabilization says So we doesn't look like we have any stabilization here at 4K. But let me know what y'all think. Alright, let's take it up to 4x zoom now. Alright, so this is 4x zoom here. Colors are still doing pretty good. We've maintained a decent amount of detail, but you can see the grass has taken. Wow, I can't talk. The grass has taken a very dramatic detail shift. All right, so y'all can see we did lose some detail in the grass. Now let's take it up to maximum zoom. All right, so this is 8x zoom, and y'all can see just how shaky the overall footage has gotten. We've lost a lot of detail. The overall colors seem to be okay, but this is almost unusable, at least through what I'm seeing in the viewfinder. Nah, this would be a no-go. So this is why I always recommend you don't go any closer than 2x zoom. Because unless you have a smart camera with a dedicated zoom lens or telephoto lens, then this is just digital cropping when you zoom in on your smart device. So I always recommend don't go up past 2x zoom. If you need to get closer, just physically try to get as close to your subject as possible. Alright, I hope y'all enjoyed this kind of quick test. Now let's flip the cameras around and do a last 4K sample, and then we'll bring this coverage to a close. So I'll be right back. Here we go. Alright, so here we have it. This is the last 4K camera clip for you guys and gals. So I've spun the camera around and we're holding it vlog style now. And this is another 4K test for you guys and gals with the rear facing 12 megapixel sensor on the Moto G7. And once again, no external microphones are hooked up here today. So everything you guys and gals are seeing and hearing is coming directly from the cameras and onboard microphones on the Moto G7 itself. So please let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. That being said, this pretty much brings a close to the camera coverage on the Moto G7. So I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this long, extensive coverage. If you did, you know what to do. That being said, I'll catch you guys and gals in the next video.